welcome to the Money Matters Empower Her podcast, where we're redefining what financial independence looks like for women. I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. The women sharing their journeys here aren't just telling stories, they're change makers. Their experiences, strategies, and financial outlooks carry real power to inspire transformation in your own life. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's episode. Welcome to Money Matters Empower Her podcast. This is where we have honest, uplifting conversations that inspire women to grow their influence, navigate life's pivots with courage, and to build a life of wealth that reflects who they really are. And I'm your host, Donna Cates, and today I'm honored to be joined by Kelly Edder, who is a certified transformational coach and a certified Pilates trainer. And I understand that Kelly is doing some extraordinary work in the world, and I can't wait for her to share her story with you and how she's actually gotten where she is today, all the lessons that she's learned along the way, and how she's helping other people like you rise as they grow their wealth and purpose. So, welcome, Kelly, and let's start with the heart of it all. Can you take about 90 seconds or so and tell us what it is you do, and more importantly, why you do it?
Thank you for having me, Donna. I'm
You're welcome.
honored to be here. I combine transformational training, mindset work with Pilates and vagus nerve toning, nervous system nurturing work to support mostly women, a few here and there, some brave men, but mostly women, to get past survival, fight or flight feeling that we often have when we've been faced with a big change, be it divorce, be it a big life change, be it like my home and business burned down in the recent Eaton wildfires. So we're faced with pivots throughout our life, and change can often be really activate our nervous system. And when we're in that fight or flight space, it's very hard to make decisions and to draw on our inner strength. So I help women find their calm in the midst of chaos, uncover their inner strength, kind of get rooted to rise. Like I've gotten to rise from the ashes, literally and emotionally, from everything burning down, and really tap into their confidence, their joy, their purpose.
Well, and I'm very curious because I know you've mentioned a couple of pivots that you've experienced, and especially the rise from the ashes. That's you'll have to speak more to that. But was there just a moment or a struggle at some point in your life that led you to this work, or what change occurred that made you focus on this?
I've had a number of changes occur that have kind of made it so it's a layering process. My work was born from both passion and pain. I had a 20-year career in professional dance, excuse me, and even that, I got to be a rockette. And even that was like, really me? Because I was born so pigeon-toed, I tripped over my feet and I had to wear leg braces. And so when my mom took me to dance studios, the teachers looked at me and were like, ugh, we don't know what to do with that. But patience, practice, and persistence paid off, and I wound up having the 20-year career in dancing. And then I retired to start a family, and that was a big identity shift. So that was one pivot, and that's when I got certified to become a Pilates trainer and found a new passion in helping people be able to trust their bodies, not only bring them out of physical pain, but the emotional pain of not being able to trust their body to do things as straightforward as like get down on the floor to play with kiddos, grandkids, fur babies, and then actually get up with ease. And then, unfortunately, a divorce. During that, I faced anxiety, insomnia, and really the deep question of who am I beyond the roles I've played? Theater roles, wife, mom. So movement really became my lifeline. And through that, Pilates and breath work I came through that, and then the COVID lockdown, I had to pivot because I had a brick and mortar studio and my clients came into the studio. So took continuing education on curriculum design, and within that, one of the mentors was very much into vagus nerve toning and nervous system work. So I started really studying that, and that helped me keep my calm with the pivot of losing the ability to have very many people come in person to the studio. Fortunately, then also was able to pivot and do a lot of online training with my clients. So yeah, so I've been then incorporating in my programs the nervous system work because our nervous system is the basis for behavior change. And if people haven't exercised much or they want to create a new habit, and we've often heard people say, I want to do it, I just don't know why I'm not doing it. Well, it can be
Mhm.
that their nervous system somehow, for some reason, is upregulated and doesn't feel like it's safe. And the nervous system's job is to keep us safe. So it will cause us to stop. So learning this nervous system work has helped me help them make changes, adapt new habits. And then of course, yes, with the wildfire, why I kind of had to put into practice even more so the things I was sharing with and teaching my clients. So
Well, and I think it's very interesting because number one, I have to give full disclosure to everybody that's listening in. I have had the privilege of going through a session with Kelly and her vagus nervous system. It didn't really click with me until I was doing it, and it is amazing. So, the reality is our bodies are doing what they do, and that nervous system especially is managing a lot of that, and we don't even realize it's going on. So to be able to focus on that and go, oh my gosh, okay, I really did feel that. It's like everything that we have, everything we experience, we really can feel it in our bodies. So I find that very amazing. But I know that for what I started to say is that with the fires, because this was recent, this was just this year, it's not been a while ago. So you had all these big events. And I'm pointing this out specifically because it wasn't just a one-time event, it's multiple events. And everything has built on empowering you to show up stronger, and not only showing up stronger, but showing people how to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk as well. Because you have to put it all into practice just to show up today after your studio and your home burned down, right? Tell us a little bit like what that was like.
very surreal, very surreal. I was getting, my phone was sent me, we had really wildly strong winds the night before. I had a bougainvillea bush that arched over the walkway back to my studio, and it had gotten ripped down um, and laid over the walkway. That was on a Monday night. So Tuesday, messaging with my clients, we decided we needed to do Zoom sessions. And then Tuesday about 6:30 in the evening, my phone gave me an alert from the county saying evacuation warning, check Genesis app. So I got on the app on my laptop, and the app was more specific. It let me actually put in my street address. And so then it showed zones, and it showed that my zone was normal and the next zone east was normal, but then two zones east had the evacuation warning. And so I just kept checking it. I'd get more messages and I'd go back to the app, to the Genesis app, and it still kept saying everything was fine. But then the electricity went out at 9:38. And I looked out the window and I could see this red plume just encroaching upon it. It looked like it was maybe 2 blocks away, likely less. So I shouted, my husband was in the other room, and I shouted to him saying, okay, we've got to go and we've got to go now. Yeah, so I tried to grab, I had a family heirloom. It was an antique China doll with a blonde ones were very rare, and it was in an antique clock case that my great uncle had put it in, and I was trying to get it off the wall, but I my home was earthquake proofed, not really fireproofed. So I had to leave that. I had to leave most everything just basically scooped up a bin that had some clean clothes in it that hadn't gotten put away. And yeah, actually, initially thought, oh, we'll be back in a couple of days because a couple years prior, we were warned to evacuate. But then overnight, we were in a hotel not far away, and there was smoke that came under the door. And in the morning, a friend called who happens to be a retired deputy fire chief, and he said the air is there is really bad. You've got to get out. And so he very kindly let us stay with him. But then, yes, on Wednesday around, I don't know, 11:30 in the morning, a friend texted saying, "Hey, I'm driving around checking on friends' houses and it feels like I'm near your place. What's your address?" And I told her, Donna, she texted me a picture.
Mm.
It looked like a war zone. Like at first I was even like, no, that's not my place. But it was all gone. I spent 14 years rebuilding after the divorce, growing, even thriving. And really the only way I could tell that it was mine was there was a tree in the front yard that was still standing. And it looked like a man flexing his biceps. And that tree, everything else had crumbled around it, but that tree was there. So
Mm. And that's how you knew it was yours and reality set in. How
yeah,
tough it must have been. Wow. Well, I know obviously you're building something, really meaningful. And I want to talk about impact, how you're empowering others, whether it's your clients, your team, just the women that you're working with, the community. You're working, you're doing that to help them become the best versions of themselves that they can be. Tell us about how you do that. How are you influencing that?
sure. Thank you. Initially, actually, in the middle of the night when I was hijacked, my nervous system was hijacked by fear and grief. I was getting on Facebook, doing Facebook Lives at 2 a.m. and doing the nervous system work and talking people
Mm.
through the vagus nerve toning that I shared with you at the conference or the summit. Since then, I have created a 7-day challenge for finding your calm amidst the chaos. I have been running, actually, this even started before the fires, but I run a program called De-Stress to Avoid Distress. And we meet weekly for 21 days and do nervous system work. And there's a bunch of materials that support it, videos and worksheets and stuff to help people women continue doing that. So it's, yeah, rebuilding after divorce, loss, fire. It's doing the nervous system work and then doing any sort of strengthening work as well, physical strengthening work. So the Pilates, it really like blends from one thing to the next, as far as I don't know how often have we really been able to think our way out of a panic attack? It's our body. It starts in our body, right? So being able
Mhm.
to use the nervous system work, the breath work to calm down our body, to then be able to be focused and work on then building the strengthening, and that helps with the mindset and the confidence. And so I really want women to know it's possible to find peace and confidence and vitality again. And it's not necessarily by fighting harder or driving ourselves. We tend to really drive ourselves, but actually by learning tools that can help their body feel safe. And then the mind can help come along. Once the body calms down, we can realize, oh, okay, I am safe in this moment. I am safe. It allows us to make better decisions and to regain our confidence, our strength, our sense of purpose.
And I love what you just said about in the moment, because that's the thing is we got to catch it. Like I do a lot of like
Mm,
negative self-talk, I should call it. And it's like if I can catch myself before I start spiraling down it and claim that, ooh, I hear that. I'm choosing not to buy into that right this moment. But you have to train your brain to recognize it, right? And that's kind of what you're talking about too, in the moment and be in the moment, feel the moment, and then deal and process.
Exactly, exactly. And so having that body awareness, so that's, I imagine you had to cultivate that awareness of the negative self-talk because initially so many of us have that. And initially that's just our norm. So we don't necessarily think that that's
There's
anything other than normal. It's what we're used to, and that's what everybody does, and that's just part of life. And we, the awareness has to come that, oh, wait, I do have power over this. I can take charge of this and make some changes. And similar to our body is the instinct is there. Our nervous system has to keep us safe. So it's milliseconds that it happens. And then, okay, if we can start, the inroad is then with our body some physical movement. Different people have different ones that help support them more. And then that can start to help quiet the mind chatter. And we can choose more positive thoughts. We can choose, like we said, to focus on this moment as opposed to what might happen 2 weeks from now or, whenever.
Well, I'm curious, how do you describe to somebody that has no experience with any of this, what you do and the impact that it has on them?
I combine nervous system nurturing work, which are generally movements, some of it's breath work. Our vagus nerve starts from the base of our brain. It runs in two branches in front of our neck bones and behind our vocal cords, down into our sternum, and branches out to all our major organ systems. So there are various movements that can help we also need to kind of hydrate the fascia, which is like a second skin. It's a collagen mesh that holds everything in place. And so getting all that moving, flowing, kind of like a washing machine, when it agitates, it gets the water flowing through the clothing. So there are movements that we do to help keep the fluid in our body moving, and that helps. Just like we don't want to get dehydrated, we need to drink our water, right? It helps the health of our nervous system to do those movements. So it's those nervous system nurturing movements plus mindset work plus Pilates movements, core strengthening. Um, yeah. And so starting with the body, the movement, the breath, the awareness, and that helps to create the sense of safety. Then once the nervous system is regulated, we're able to be more calm and confident, and clarity is born out of that. So it's a softer and more sustainable way to empowerment.
Wow. And I imagine just because of the culture that we live in here, everybody's fast and furious, and just finding time and making space to allow themselves to slow down and do what you're talking about. I imagine that's a big challenge. But if women, and I think this is the case, so even though we're past COVID close down, are you still working with people virtually?
I am, especially because of losing my studio.
Right.
That was another pivot, and that's another way to be able to look at the COVID lockdown as a blessing or find a blessing from it, is that my clients were already aware that they could get a quality session over Zoom. So several of them I still work with over Zoom. And then also just recently, a friend of a friend of a friend, it just amazes me how God
Mhm.
works, right? Has a Pilates studio that I used to drive by and think I was going to introduce myself and just, like you said, we're busy, everything's going on, just never did. Well, we were introduced and she had a trainer needing a leave of absence. So I stepped in and am helping cover those shifts. And she's allowing me to then bring in the clients of mine that need the equipment, that, getting down onto the floor to do mat work wasn't going to be feasible for them. So yeah, it's really, I've been in the midst of all this and it's been so surreal. I mean, I go look at my site. It was my dirt patch, but um, then the Army Corps cleared it, and it's still, Donna, doesn't always sink in that it's gone, that there's going to be something different there, and that it's
Mhm.
going to be a little while. But yeah, just kind of keep trying to move forward one step at a time, and hang on to the things. It helps me to help other people. So that really helps support, and it's giving me my sense of purpose. Early on, my brother and his wife run a yoga studio. And so early on, they said, you can use the studio whenever we don't have something else going on. So I offered up pro bono nervous system nurturing sessions and Pilates sessions. And I have created containers for women to reclaim their body, reclaim their life as one of my programs. I have Oasis. I just had an event here at the apartment at the temporary spot where I'm living, where we did Pilates, and then we hung out by the pool, and then we had just some quality soul connection time.
That sounds so fabulous. And I wish that more people would allow time for things like that. I think it's really important. So, and I love the fact that that you can work with people virtually, because that means anybody can work with you from anywhere.
Yeah.
So, on that note, for those listeners who feel inspired and motivated, to learn more about the work that you do, how can they connect with you? What's the best way for them to reach you?
The best way to reach me is to sign up for my free 6 minute, under 6 minutes, tame your neck tension video, because then they'll get on my email list.
Tame your neck.
Yep,
I
exactly.
love it. Oh my gosh.
And I
Okay.
apologize. You asked me, and I went off a little bit on a tangent about finding the time. Yeah, it's lovely if you can take 2 hours, 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon and join me for something like this. But especially my 7 days to calm, or finding your calm in the chaos, those videos walk through a different technique each day. They're 2 minutes.
Mm,
We can really get benefit from just 2 minutes. I stretch it a little bit, and I do have a routine that I do every morning, and it's about 8 minutes long.
hmm.
But if you think about that, how much time do we sometimes lose when we're spinning in
Oh yeah.
anxiety or stress, or just trying to, like, I can remember I could not figure out what to do first. I had my list in front of me. Well, maybe this makes more sense. Maybe that makes more sense. But what about this? And what if this person? Well, okay, how much time did I just spend doing that? Couldn't I have
Right.
spent that time calming my nervous system, helping my brain realize I can be focused, I can get clarity, I'm creative,
Mm.
right?
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to make sure that everybody's got your contact information here so that they can go grab that from you. And I know that they will all appreciate it. And to me, it was kind of like I knew kind of sort of, what you were talking about before I experienced it. But when I did, it was like, oh, well, that was kind of simple. And oh my gosh, was that not empowering. I mean, it was just like immediate. So I appreciated that. So I am so grateful that you were able to be on today. And like I said earlier, I know you've been through more pivots and hard pivots than most. And I'm grateful that you're tenacious and you're out there doing things and making the world a better place for everybody. So thank you for being on today. We look forward to sharing this with our world.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for providing this kind of support for women that are going through divorce or various big changes in life. And well-being is part of wealth, I think. So for
Yes,
people to
I
focus on
totally agree
cultivating.
with you. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Okay, so we're going to say goodbye.
Okay, bye. Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to the Money Matters Empower Her podcast. I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you want.